Remember when you were 8 years old and it's a hot summer day and you finally felt you had mustered the courage to jump off the high dive at the local pool? Remember that feeling of climbing the ladder and grabbing the railings with white knuckles, and then you cautiously reach the top and you look over the edge and somehow it feels like you're looking out the window of an airplane at cruising altitude. And yet, once you get there, the hardest part, it's still ahead of you. You start walking forward, you're clutching those railings until they eventually stop, and then you realize the further that you walk, the more unstable the board becomes. And now you've got two choices. Well, with everyone watching, you can either do an about face and you can turn to safety by clumsily descending backwards down that ladder that you came up on, or you can walk the plank. Remember being there? Cold, wet, half naked, totally exposed with endless eyes looking on? But then at a crucial moment, you remember that fear kills more dreams than failure. And that's enough to get you to take the plunge. And that's how I feel right now. The reason is because we're about to launch a private beta. And I'm battling illness right now, so I apologize for the quality of my voice. So how do we get here? Well, this is episode 20. I've written 60,000 words since we started chronicling our story back in June of 2023. And even though I was nervous last year, we are really vulnerable right now because we're at the very last moment before we hit the point of no return. We did 8 episodes about how to start a startup. Then we did 12 episodes about how to build an alpha. Some viewers even said watching this is like watching a Netflix series. I don't know about that, but hey, if you haven't seen all the episodes, binge them, because this is the last episode of building an alpha since we're about to convert the alpha into a private beta and announce a delivery date. But before I do that, I want to talk about what that means. What is a beta? Well, it's actually kind of challenging to define because beta can mean different things to different people. In the media and entertainment industry, we often refer to super early products as alpha, and then stable but still early products as beta, often coupled with a version number. But in the tech startup world, one might consider an equivalent to be an MVP, minimum viable product. Okay, well, what's that? Well, again, it can mean different things to different people. For some people, an MVP is the first version of a product that works enough to get customer feedback and validate your assumptions. Entrepreneur Marty Kagan in his book Inspired says, an MVP should not be a product. He hints that the P should actually stand for prototype. He warns not to aim to make an MVP a successful product since it will make pivoting harder. And then there's us, who even after knowing all these things went against credible resources and ignored advice from experienced people that we trust and respect, and we went on to create a fully fledged working beta. A beta that covers far more features than we ever thought we could. Or if we end up being wrong, a beta that covers far more features than we should. And that's why I'm trembling like that 8-year-old on the high dive. I'm debating whether or not the pressure of backing down is worse than just going over the edge. But I'm reminded about that fear. Forward, we have to go forward. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start rolling out the beta. So then what do we need to pull this off? Well, let's make a checklist. First, we need to ensure that we have a product that will do enough for people to gain value quickly. That's why we came up with the 4 areas where stills, sound, and video workflows all need help. We call them the 4 T's: transfer, transcribe, transcode, and tag analyze or tanalyze. You can learn more about these in episode 14. Check that out if you haven't seen it, because we dive more into the purposes of our foundation. Then in episode 17, we show the 4 T's in action. But the 4 T's are not what Strada is all about. They are simply the foundation that will unlock thousands of features that you'll be able to use to enhance your workflows. Since we have traced the root of all workflows to these 4 main components, we built them first. So now that we have features all set up for the beta, next up, we need swag. But you can't have swag without a logo, and you can't launch a product without swag. So we need to sit down and figure out what the Strada logo should look like. Thankfully, head of design Neil Ishibashi had something in mind to show us.
We've done some exploration on the Strada brand. We've talked about using this concept of the command key, which the origins are pretty interesting. It does represent command on the Apple keyboard. The history of this started in Scandinavia. It's called the bow and knot. It's a rope that's kind of interlooped infinitely. This is used in a lot of the signage, I believe in either Sweden or Norway, which indicates that there's an actual attraction coming up. So if you see this icon and you're driving on the streets, in Norway, it means you're coming close to something cool, like a castle, maybe a landmark. It kind of leads into sort of this overarching theme that we have with Strada about roads and traveling and destination.
Well, where we grew up, this is how freeways intersected. I don't know if they do it out here because it's kind of, they'd figure out any way to fit it, but freeway exchanges used to be big clover leaves. See, that's how freeways in the Midwest are built.
Yeah, now we're really getting on the nose here.
Yeah. Oh
Oh my gosh. Pro.
that was pro.
And that's our pro.
I still feel like there is something powerful about the command reference too.
We love the look of the bow and knot, and it ties to travel. It also has 4 quadrants that can represent each of the 4 T's. Neil's design made it look like a road with a clever connection to infinity. It's also similar to a 4-leaf clover, so this logo brings a hint of luck, something we'll take. And it also has ties to the Apple Command keyboard. I like the idea of a slogan like "take command of your workflow" or something like that. So what do you think of the Strada mark? Let us know. And with the mark, we can now make that swag and cross it off the list. In fact, if you want some swag, the first 3 people that email me and put swag in the subject line, send me your address and I'll send you a limited edition Strada swag something. Okay, next up on our private beta launch list is, well, we need to find you. If you want to be a part of the private beta, here's what you need to do. First, you need to sign up for the app, but you also need to reach out to us and tell us what project you'd like to try it on. See, we need to release Strada in waves because we've never load tested the processing across numerous accounts. Strada is not just another cloud platform. It's not just a way to view media assets or asset manage or view dailies or transcribe, translate, or transcode. It will do some things that no other tools do. The reason for this is our architecture is fundamentally different from other tools in our class because we built a custom tech stack that is powered by 3 unique engines. First, Strada has a media pipeline engineers as a directed acyclic graph, or a DAG. A DAG can be visualized in a way to show how the processing and modifications of an asset in our media pipeline connect to each other. Then we have an orchestration layer, which is a technology that allows us to evaluate every task that you need to do and distribute the processing required to execute them across a large cloud network. To you, that simply means you can choose to have the power of an enormous render farm with 0 setup. And third, we don't require you to use our storage. You get to use your existing storage, but that means we have to optimize your storage that you already pay for. Our orchestration layer and our DAG layers are what run your media through the pipeline. Now, this tech stack is working in the lab, but we need to slowly open it up to users because we have to scale up from 0. So we built Strada to handle tens of thousands of users, but like a brand new motor, you need to bring it up slowly to speed to ensure that it remains stable. That's why we're going to release the private beta in waves and turn up the throttle as more and more assets are thrown into the pipeline. So we're looking for early adopters who are willing to bleed a little. As much as we got right, there are certainly going to be things that break and we need to address them. Now, we're confident that we can fix these problems, but honestly, we need some of you to help us find them. That means we need people who either have worked on betas before, or maybe you're comfortable with working on unproven technology. Also, you have an interest in providing feedback. If this sounds like you, reach out to us at beta@strada.tech. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the project that you want to try Strada on. If it's a good fit, we'll add you to the first waves of the private beta. This will create a wait list of beta participants, and you'll get messages from me and a way to provide direct feedback to us so we can capture your insight and start addressing your concerns and adding new features. Each week, more people on the wait list will have the private beta activated on their account. Over time, more and more people will be able to use the private beta until we're confident that our tool and technology are ready for a wider audience. At that time, we'll eliminate the waitlist, open it up to public beta, and anyone who signs up can access Strada immediately. If this plan works, our infrastructure layer, our DAG and orchestration, and our cloud connections will power your media across the 4 Ts, and then we can start adding features really quickly. Strada is built in such a way that we can add really complex features in a short amount of time, kind of like blowing up a balloon. All you need to increase the size is a little oxygen, and that oxygen comes from you. So some of you have already indicated that you want to be an early adopter, and you're already in the queue. To the rest of you, we want to hear from you, so if you feel this is a good fit, please reach out. So now that we have a plan, the last big thing we need to do is launch this product and show you how it works. So mark your calendars and tell your friends and colleagues, because you're invited to join us for a YouTube live event at 9 a.m. Pacific time on February 1st. This will be the first chance to see the full beta in action, and trust me, what we're planning is definitely something different. Again, this private beta is just the beginning, but after 7 months of building, we want to begin putting this in your hands so we can learn what is working for you and what you want us to build next. So sign up for the product, join us on February 1st, understand the 4 T's, and if you have the right project, reach out to us at beta@strada.tech, and let's get to know each other. And now that we've made it to the beta, that actually concludes our Building an Alpha series. But keep subscribing, because after we launch the private beta, we're going to start shifting this series by putting Strada to the test, and we'll showcase how you can up-level your workflows with Strada by shooting with it in the field. I cannot wait to push this technology and get your feedback. So tell your friends, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you on February 1st.